Hello, this is Christina Salvador, and I am presenting my final project for EDLT543, Play and Learning in a Participatory Culture. Role of play. What is play? Solon and Zimmerman define play as free movement within a more rigid structure, and they organize the types of play into three categories. Gameplay represents a structured activity with set rules such as a board game. Ludic activity represents less structured activities, such as bouncing a ball. Being playful represents the act of being free with words or actions, such as using slang or walking unusually. Transformative play is when the act of playing can impact and change the structure of the activity. Education plays many roles in United States society. As Sloan expressed, education creates emotionally healthy adults who can engage in meaningful relationships. Education provides a means to decrease inequalities across classes, races, gender, and other socioeconomic categories. Our educational system can provide meaningful experiences and interactions that can positively impact student experiences outside of the educational system. For example, students can build experience with delegation, time management, research, communication, and leadership. As Shaw and Foster explain, during play, learners will often develop questions as they work through problems, supporting the learners in acquiring of knowledge and information. Increased engagement can result in learners becoming more motivated to succeed, to learn rules and strategies, and to improve. Play can also support learners' construction of knowledge, ability to strategize, and skill in considering outcomes of decisions. Learners are often encouraged to express themselves and their values. Vygotsky says that play can encourage learners to purposefully refrain from acting out immediate impulses when they are faced with a conflict between the rules of the game and what they would do if they could act spontaneously. When play is executed successfully in education, the experience can be intriguing, stimulating, and exciting. Learners do not want to stop playing because they are engaged in the experience. Their continued engagement in the experience leads to their continued growth and learning. From personal experience as a learner being exposed to play in school, I feel that the competitive nature of certain play can help motivate learners to focus more on content and to strengthen their abilities. When I was in 3rd grade, my class was learning how to multiply, and our teacher organized an activity called multiplication baseball. Before we played the game, students first worked for several weeks on learning their times tables. As students performed the different sets, they earned stickers signifying their completion of a set. The first 2 students to complete 12 sets of timetables were given the opportunity to serve as captains of the multiplication baseball team. This memory stands out to me strongly because I was one of the captains. I remember how heated our competition got and how proud I was to be captain. I also remember feeling motivated to practice multiplication so that I could set the tone for my team, serving as a positive example for my peers. Earlier in this course, I interviewed 3 individuals about their personal experiences utilizing digital games with social elements, both within an educational setting and separate from an educational setting. One individual was an 8-year-old boy in 2nd grade named Logan. Another was a 17-year-old boy in 10th grade named David. The last person I interviewed was a 31-year-old woman named Lauren. Logan attends public school. He enjoys games and school. He is very enthusiastic about learning and frequently seeks to learn academic concepts in his personal time long before he is taught them in school. He utilizes YouTube and peers to learn how to improve his gameplay. Logan feels more comfortable making mistakes in games than making mistakes in school. He expressed that for him, it is easier to fix a mistake in a game than it is to fix a mistake in school. When reflecting on his gameplay, Logan was able to identify areas of strength, such as problem solving, and areas of weakness, such as effectively communicating to teams. He felt that his voice is more easily heard in digital games than in non-digital games. My second interviewee, David, also attends public school. He enjoys playing games during his personal time, but his classes do not incorporate any digital games or social media. Although he can recall playing a typing game in his elementary school computer class, he does not recall any recent use of games in school. He prefers to play single-player digital games that are not networked in with other players online. He enjoys games that involve problem-solving, strategizing, moral choices, and exploring virtual worlds. He utilizes online message boards, articles, and YouTube for gameplay advice. He has a Facebook account, but he prefers to use an alternative social media platform called Gab AI, which he explained is less censored than Facebook or Twitter. He initially created an account as a result of reading reports of Twitter removing a large number of accounts due to political reasons. Lauren spends most of her workday on a computer, As a result, she prefers to rarely use social media or digital games in her spare time. When she does play games during her personal time, her favorite is Words with Friends. She feels that the biggest difference between games for school and games for personal time is that one of the primary goals of games in school is to engage the user in a learning experience, but she feels that using games in her personal time is to disengage mentally, turning off the part of her brain that is used to focus. Lauren prefers to learn by seeing and doing, so she appreciates having someone show her how to complete a task or play a game. She would prefer to learn the rules of a game while playing the game rather than trying to learn the rules before playing. If playing a game for fun, she will stop playing it if it is too challenging. Henry Jenkins describes participatory cultures as cultures that support freedom for learners to express themselves creatively and participate in civic engagement. Participants are encouraged to share their ideas and opinions, helping each other to improve skill sets and expand knowledge. Many individuals engage in informal participatory learning outside of formal educational settings. For example, when a significant political event occurs, many young people's first instinct is to refer to social media platforms to see what people are saying about it. They will form their opinion and stance while considering the stance of others. In their spare time, learners are choosing what to learn and what resources to get their information from. They are often referring to others' work and mimicking their actions. Participatory cultures more closely resemble interactions and circumstances that students will navigate in their career and adult life. For example, it can provide opportunities to learn how to seek the assistance through a mentor-like figure, ask for help, and collaborate with others. During play and other forms of participatory learning, instructors should be advised to model and coach communication. As learners build experience within a game, they can better express the rules and purpose of the game as well as their reasoning. Facilitators can communicate feedback and guidance to learners as they play. Learners can strengthen their ability to effectively communicate with their peers and instructors. If instructors choose to create a participatory learning environment through popular social media platforms such as Facebook, they should consider that many students would prefer to keep their social media use separate from their school activities. In such cases, instructors might suggest that students create a special, separate account for classroom activities so that privacy of their original account is still maintained. Challenges that come with play in social media and games can be beneficial for learners to experience. Play can provide a space for learners to test out and develop skills that can be applied to other parts of their lives. My interviewee Logan provided an example of learning how to effectively communicate and lead within a multiplayer video game. Although a student can be taught effective communication and leadership methods, complete readings on these subjects, and write papers or complete exams on the material, a practical application such as trying to communicate instructions and strategies to a team might serve as a more meaningful experience that has the potential to leave a lasting impression on an individual. Based on my interviews with David and Lauren, it is important to note that some people prefer not to utilize games that feature a social element. This can be because they prefer the absence of featured communication with others, they have concern about their privacy, or various other reasons. In an educational setting where participation in social media-style digital games is a requirement, it might be important for an instructor to clearly communicate their reasoning for incorporating the use of the game in advance of the learners playing the game. Instructors should also be prepared to address concerns and questions that might be brought up by the concerned students. Although many of our class readings provide examples of well-designed games that provide learners with vivid world and complex problems, I feel that it is crucial for instructors to make sure to include class time for reflective discussion about gameplay. Saul and Zimmerman expressed how in most games, players are required to make choices, and choices have consequences. The concept of choices having consequences sounds simple, but it can certainly lead to more intricate and engaging conversations for learners. One of my interviewees, David, expressed that the reason he didn't enjoy some of his classes was because he did not recognize how he would apply the content to his life. I feel that schools can combat this mindset by utilizing simulated games to allow learners an opportunity to experience real-world applications of course concepts. For example, Barev, Grisalfi, and Ingram Goebel provided a description of a Quest Atlantis activity that focused on investigating a decline in a fish population. Game players tested out theories and practices in much more tangible ways than a textbook or worksheet could. Through Quest Atlantis, these topics are now presented to students in an interdisciplinary context that provides a meaningful space to reflect and hypothesize in. In order to capitalize on the features of participatory learning environments that individuals opt into during their personal time, schools should consider having some flexibility in certain assignments and projects. For example, when possible, learners might be able to select a topic for a research paper from a set of options rather than having only one option. They might have a few options for a project, including different mediums such as written reports, presentations, or videos. Choices like this might result in a learner who is more connected with their content, thus more motivated and enthusiastic about learning. Since the beginning of this course, my views on play, situated learning, and participatory culture has continued to develop. Combining the readings and discussions from this class with what I have been experiencing within a new role in my career, I have grown in my understanding of the benefits of play and learning, as well as the importance of play design. Well-designed games can provide learners with an opportunity to learn by doing, work through mistakes, practice communication, serve as a leader, prioritize actions, problem solve, and reflect. With technology increasing in accessibility and affordability, educators are less restricted by their classrooms or the limits of where they can physically travel with their students. Through games, simulations, and virtual reality, learners can be transported to faraway countries, imaginary spaces, workplace simulations, and beyond. While accessing these spaces, they can work with their peers to navigate their surroundings, combining their understanding to teach one another and better perform in the learning experience.